What if the life you're living is not the real one, but only a reflection? What if everything you believe to be true, your desires, fears, goals, even your idea of self, is just a set of illusions handed to you by a world that benefits from your sleep? Spiritual awakening isn't about becoming something new. It's about remembering what you already are. And to remember, you must first unlearn. You must break through illusions so deep, so woven into your reality, that they feel like truth. And that's why most people never awaken. Because truth is terrifying when you've lived in a lie for too long. But if you feel that quiet ache in your soul, the sense that something isn't right, that something is missing even when life looks fine on the surface, then the veil is already thinning for you. And once you begin to see through it, there's no going back. The first illusion you must break is the illusion of control. We're raised to believe we can control outcomes, people, timing, even destiny through force, through strategy, through obsession. But control is the opposite of spiritual power. Control is rooted in fear. It's the ego's desperate attempt to shape a reality it doesn't understand. True power, real power, comes from surrender, from aligning with the deeper intelligence of the universe, not from wrestling it into submission. When you awaken, you begin to see that nothing is truly under your control. The people who left, the opportunities that vanished, the moments you couldn't change, these were never yours to hold. And in this realization, there's peace. When you stop trying to control, you begin to flow. And that flow leads you to the exact places your soul was meant to go. The second illusion is the illusion of separation. We've been conditioned to see the world as fragmented. Me versus you, us versus them, mind versus body, spirit versus matter. But separation is the greatest lie ever told. Everything is connected. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, ripples outward and shapes the collective. You're not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. When you think you're separate, you suffer. You judge others. You fear death. You cling to identity. But when you awaken to unity, compassion becomes effortless. Forgiveness becomes natural. And love, pure, unshakable love, becomes who you are, not just what you give. The third illusion is the illusion of permanence. We cling to the idea that things will stay the same. We want relationships to last forever, youth to remain, comfort to be constant. But all things in this realm are temporary. Change is the only guarantee. Yet we resist it. We mourn what's gone. We fear what's coming. And in doing so, we miss the sacredness of the now. Spiritual awakening demands you embrace impermanence, to see beauty in decay, to find joy in the fleeting, to let go again and again without losing yourself. Everything you lose is teaching you how to hold with open hands. Everything that ends is showing you that endings are illusions, too. Nothing dies, it only transforms. These illusions are not intellectual ideas. They are emotional cages. You may know the truth in your mind, but until you feel it in your body, in your nervous system, in your silence, you remain trapped. To awaken spiritually, you must go through death. Not physical death, but ego death. The crumbling of false identities. The burning away of who you thought you had to be. And the ego will resist this at all costs. It will create distractions, fears, addictions, anything to keep you from remembering. But if you've come this far, if you're still listening, then something ancient within you is already waking up. Something timeless, something real. And once that part of you begins to stir, the illusions begin to crack. The fourth illusion is the illusion of identity. From the moment you were born, you were given labels. A name, a gender, a nationality, a religion, a story. You were told who you are before you had the chance to ask. And you believed it, not because it was true, but because it was safe. But identity is a costume, a temporary mask your soul wears to navigate this world. The real you, the essence beneath the roles, is beyond name, beyond form, beyond time. That's why, no matter how much success you gather, how many people love the version of you you've constructed, something still feels missing. Because it's not the real you they see. It's the identity, the mask, the illusion. Awakening means removing that mask layer by layer. Not with violence or rejection, but with awareness. You start to observe the thoughts that once defined you. You watch the emotional patterns play out like echoes of your conditioning. You begin to disidentify from the drama, and in doing so, you taste freedom. And here's the paradox. When you let go of who you thought you were, you don't become nothing. You become everything. The soul doesn't scream to be seen. It whispers, and only when the noise of ego quiets can you finally hear it. The fifth illusion, the most insidious of all, is the illusion of meaninglessness. In a world ruled by logic and reductionism, you are taught that life is an accident, that consciousness is a byproduct of chemistry, that love is just hormones, that the universe is cold, indifferent, mechanical. This illusion is the poison that keeps humanity asleep. Because when you believe life is meaningless, you stop listening to the synchronicities. You ignore your intuition. You numb your pain instead of learning from it. You survive, but you don't live. But once you awaken, even slightly, you begin to see the hidden threads, the symbols in your dreams, the people who show up at the right moment, the numbers that repeat, the quiet inner voice that nudges you towards something greater. Meaning begins to shimmer beneath the surface of everything. And you realize this isn't random. This is a dialogue. Life is not happening to you. It's responding to you. You are never abandoned. You are always being guided. The deeper you awaken, the more you understand that everything is energy. Everything is consciousness in disguise. The tree is alive in ways science can't measure. The silence in your meditation speaks louder than any thought. The pain you once cursed becomes your greatest teacher. And the longing in your soul is the divine pulling you home. But don't mistake awakening for bliss. That's another illusion. True awakening is often disorienting, painful, even terrifying. Because you're not just gaining new truths, you're losing old lies. The ground beneath your feet will shake. The people around you might not understand. Parts of you will grieve for the comfort of ignorance. But what you gain in return is clarity, power, peace. Not the peace of silence, but the peace of truth. You begin to live with intention. You stop needing permission to feel joy. You release the need to be understood. You no longer chase love, you become it. And in moments of stillness, you remember, you are not becoming something new. You are returning to something eternal. You are the awareness behind the thoughts, the space between the words, the presence within the form. This journey isn't linear. You'll forget again and again. But every time you return stronger, deeper, clearer. When you begin to live beyond the illusions, something sacred happens. You no longer measure life by external milestones. You begin to sense your alignment by how deeply present you are. You start to trust your own energy more than anyone's opinion. And most importantly, you recognize the difference between what is real and what is only noise. Awakening is not an escape from reality. It is the clearest immersion into it. It's not about floating above the world in spiritual detachment. It's about walking through the fire of human experience with eyes wide open, heart unarmored, and soul unwavering. You become unshakable not because life gets easier, but because illusion no longer controls you. The pain still comes, but now it teaches. The chaos still swirls, but you no longer fear it. You become the calm in the storm, the silence beneath the scream, the witness to the entire unfolding. And slowly, gently, your perception transforms. A conversation with a stranger carries a hidden message. A sunset feels like a transmission from the infinite. A moment of solitude becomes a reunion with your soul. What once seemed mundane is now soaked in meaning. You don't need more to feel full. You need less. Less distortion, less distraction, less illusion. Because when the veil falls, truth requires no decoration. You begin to serve something higher, not a God outside yourself, but the divine within. Your actions align with soul, not ego. Your words carry weight because they come from silence. Your choices flow from clarity, not fear. And this shift begins to affect everything. Your relationships deepen or dissolve, depending on their resonance. Your goals realign. Your body becomes more sensitive. Your intuition sharpens. You begin to attract experiences that reflect your inner truth, not your old trauma. Life responds, not to who you pretend to be, but to who you truly are. And what is that? You are not your name, not your history, not your thoughts. You're the one who sees, the one who knows without knowing how, the one who's always been here, behind every identity, beneath every illusion. You are the soul in human form, the light in the labyrinth, the spark of the infinite playing as the finite. But this isn't about becoming enlightened and done. No, awakening is not a destination. It's a practice, a remembrance, a sacred unraveling. Some days, you will feel awake and weightless. Other days, you will forget everything and fall back into illusion. That is part of it. Do not resist it. Do not shame it. Watch it. Learn from it. Begin again. Because even your forgetting is part of the awakening. And when you live like this, with reverence for each breath, each thought, each connection, you stop asking, what is the meaning of life? And begin to live as the answer. So now the question returns to you. What illusions are still holding you? What story, belief, or fear are you ready to release? What truth is your soul whispering that you're finally ready to hear? Let out. Let be spoken. Let be witnessed. Drop a comment below and share the illusion you're ready to break. Your truth may be the mirror someone else needs to see their own. Welcome to awakening, not as an idea, but as a way of being.